The Nikon ZF is my favorite camera that I've ever owned over the last half decade. It's full frame, has great autofocus, and the files are just gorgeous for both photo and video. But the Nikon ZF has this retro aesthetic design, right? But Nikon only really made two lenses to match this design. Beyond that, nothing else really fits the look. Over my year of owning this camera, and I'm sure you guys can relate, I've had a tough time finding lenses for my Nikon ZF. Aesthetic lenses that are small and compact to suit the poor ergonomics, and lenses that perform well without any compromises. So today I want to share my 5 favorite lenses that I recommend for the Nikon ZF with this criteria in mind. I'll be starting from number 5 and working my way up to number 1, which is my favorite. This video is sponsored by Nikon, and with that said, let's jump right into it. So number 5 is ironically the Nikon 40mm f2. Now, for a kit lens, it's actually fantastic. The autofocus is fast and snappy. It's a small and light lens, and the optics are also great. Meaning things like it doesn't flare, it's sharp, and it has limited to no distortion and vignette. It's also a cheap lens at only $240 USD if you buy it as a kit lens with the ZF, or about $320 separately. And I feel that this is an aesthetic lens design that Nikon desperately needs to replicate for different focal lengths like a 28, a 50, and a 90mm. I personally think it looks great and really does match the aesthetic of the Nikon ZF, unlike Nikon's other lenses. It is basically all plastic, even the mount, but of course it still has glass elements, and it does have this metal silver ring that does nothing. Like an aperture ring would be nice, Nikon. Just look at my autofocus Pentax 75mm in comparison. If Nikon gave us Z-mount lenses with an aperture ring and proper manual focus markings, that would be fantastic. But great value, a great lens. If you don't have one, check the link down below to pick up a copy for yourself. Now, unfortunately, this 40mm has ended up being my least used lens. Long-term viewers will know that it used to be a favorite focal length of mine, and honestly, if I could only own the one lens, 40mm would be right up there. But over the past year or so, I have really gelled with a 3-lens combo, and let's start with the 28mm. So number 4 is this Sony 28mm f2. Yes, you heard correct, this is a Sony lens. And I made the mistake when buying a 28mm for the ZF, as there is a better option. Let me explain. So the Nikon Z mount is special because it actually has a shorter flange distance by 2mm than Sony, and a company called Megadapt jumped onto this clearance and made a fantastically thin E to Z full autofocus adapter. So this means you can adapt basically any Sony E-mount lens to any Nikon Z-mount camera. And I have had no autofocus performance issues with this adapter on the Nikon ZF as well as the Z6 III. I do like this lens as it is f2, which is great for portraits or low light. It's a Sony lens, so you know it's sharp and performs well. But my main issue is that, how do I put this? It's just not very attractive. I mean, it looks like any other lens, but on the ZF, we need more, right? That's why I advise you not to make the same mistake as me and think that the Nikon 28mm f2.8 SE is an APS-C lens. It's not, it's full frame. I've heard that Nikon 28mm f2.8 SE is a good lens. Not as good as a fantastic 40mm f2, but I'm sure it gets the job done. So I've linked that lens plus this Sony 28mm f2 along with this adapter in the link in the description down below. If you want more subject separation or low light, get the Sony lens. If you're on a budget or prefer better aesthetic design, buy the Nikon. So before we move down to my final 3 lenses, I want to show you a product that I've been loving with the Nikon ZF, who is also conveniently sponsoring today's video, and that's this cute little baby flash from Nikon. I've used a lot of flashes over the years. I've got a couple of Gordoc V1s, some AD200s, etc. But honestly, sometimes you just need something small and compact that you can always just leave on your camera, and that's where this little Zenio mini on-camera flash comes in. Now, Nikon are also the distributor behind Gordocs, so So you'll probably see me using my Godox i30 on the streets of Japan, and more recently I've been testing out the new Godox IT30 Pro, which absolutely slaps for a pocket flash with full TTL control. I actually brought this little Zenico mini flash with me to Hawaii for some outdoor portraits, and honestly, it surprised me. It had enough punch to get that crisp flash look and even overpower the sun. And the best thing is, it's not just compatible with Nikon, it's also compatible with Canon, Sony, or even Fujifilm. Pretty much all the big brands, so you don't have to buy per brand's hot shoe, which is super convenient. It's also a minimal design that just looks great on the Nikon ZF, and it's also USB-C rechargeable. So if you guys want a compact flash that you can always just leave on your camera, buy this. It's linked down below, and we have 10% off until the end of September. Thank you again to Zenico for supporting the channel. Okay, now we're moving into the juicy part of the video of my top 3 lenses for the Nikon ZF. And number 3 is the Sigma 90mm f2.8. I do not know why Nikon has banned Sigma from making lenses for the Z mount. I don't think it's the other way around, as this Sigma 90mm f2.8 contemporary lens just looks and works fantastic on the Nikon ZF. Now again, this is a Sony E-mount lens, and like before with the 28mm, I use this full autofocus control adapter from Megadap. And I just love this lens to bits. 90mm has become a staple focal length in my photography. It allows me to get those more telephoto compression shots without carrying around a huge 70-200 zoom lens. And on the ZF in APS-C crop mode, this gives me a 135mm. So that has completely removed the 70-200 from my bag altogether. 90mm is also a great portrait lens, better than the 85, as sometimes a little extra length does count. Jokes aside, most importantly, this is a lens that not only performs great, it's a Sigma lens after all, it also looks fantastic attached to the Nikon ZF. A full metal black build, even the magnetic lens cap is metal, and it has a clicky aperture ring. It's also small and compact, which is a plus for the subpar ergonomics on the Nikon ZF. It's relatively affordable at retail of $720 USD, but you also need to buy that Megadap E2Z. I highly recommend you click that link down below and pick one up for yourself. And this 90mm pairs perfectly with the second to last lens on this list, and that's the Sigma 50mm f2. So again, this is a Sony lens adapted onto the ZF with that Megadap, and it's an identical design and almost the same size, weight, and price as the 90mm. Now, this has to be my most used lens on the Nikon ZF, and for good reason. I have gelled with the 50mm focal length in combination with the 28 and the 90mm respectively. I've done a whole video on why I love the 50mm, which you can watch right here, but I've found that the 50mm just works for everything. So portraits look great with flattering facial features, ideal for street photography to remove distracting elements but maintain context in the image, and 50mm is also great for video work also. Having f2 in this small compact size is super clutch for getting background blur and keeping your ISO low and your shutter speed high in low light. Now, something to keep in mind when using this adapter is that the IBIS will work, as the adapter will tell the camera what focal length is attached, but not the lens make or model. So the issue is, when you edit in Lightroom, you need to change the lens correction manually. And a quick tip is to filter your images by lens in the library mode, then pick the correct lens profile, select all the lenses, then sync the lens profile, and then just remember to turn off the filter by lens to see all the images again. Bit of a pain, I know, like, come on Nikon, allow Sigma to make these fantastic contemporary lenses for the ZF. If you want to pick up this Sigma 50mm f2 or browse the Sigma contemporary line, check the link down below. Oh, and I forgot to say, the only issue with this lens is the flare. It's not great because bright sources of light like the sun will wash out the image, or you get this very ugly kind of washed out rainbow flare, which is one of many reasons why I have switched to these Typoc Samira f1.4 full manual focus lenses. So I'm breaking my own rules here, because at number 1, I couldn't decide between the 28mm and the 50mm, so I'm just calling it a combo kit. Oops, let me just take this red filter off. That's for next week's video. If you want to see what this does, well, subscribe. Okay, so the main reason why I love these lenses is the look. I have never owned a lens that combines modern coatings and sharpness with a hint of vintage character. Both these lenses and also the entire Typox Samira line have this unique 3D pop render. They are sharp but not clinically sharp. They have a pleasing roll off to the edges of the frame also. These lenses control harsh and bright light very well, so this results in a beautiful flare with none of those weird color shifts, and sometimes you'll see the aperture blades in the flare, which I think is super nice. At f16 you get a great starburst effect, and wide open the bokeh is just stunning, which makes your subject pop and the background really just melts away. And out of all the lenses that I've listed today, I think they look the best attached to the Nikon ZF. They are a full metal construction but are small and compact for f1.4 lens, and the weight and size just feels right on the ZF. It's not front heavy at all. Being full manual focus lenses, they of course have an aperture ring that if you toggle this little switch, it will make the aperture ring click or de-click. That is a nice little hidden detail there, Typox. The only thing I wouldn't recommend is buying the Z mount version. I just think it's better to buy the M mount version and use this 6-bit adapter from TD Artisan, as it will relay the focal length for the IBIS, and being a chipped adapter you get the green focus confirmation. With the adapter attached, the lens will be about the same size due to the shorter flange distance on M mount lenses. The M mount is slightly more expensive, but I think M mount is more universal and they do hold their value more. I've left links down below for this adapter and the entire Typox Samira range. There's also a discount code down below, and when you make a new account you get an extra 5% off and you also get free shipping. And just a quick disclaimer, these were sent to me in December last year. I kind of neglected them. I didn't want to make a video on them once I tried them. I absolutely love them. So thank you to Typox for sending me these lenses. Sorry it took me so long to test them out, and I love them. And just quickly guys, if you do like the way that I've edited my photos, I do sell Lightroom presets based off this nostalgic film look that work for not only Nikon cameras but also all other major camera brands. If you sign up to my educational photography and Lightroom newsletter, you'll receive a discount code. And if you want to see how well these lenses perform from my trip to the San Francisco area, plus some tips on manual focusing with the ZF, go watch this video right here. If you're not going to go watch this video right here, I encourage you to get off social media, go grab your camera, whatever one you own, and go take some photos after you subscribe to the channel. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you later.